Ready?
Here we go. Yo. Where's my Yoshi's at? There he is. Hey. Oh yeah. Hello. This is
ready for that 80s cheese rap? It's not here. Just a bunch of guys being ridiculous, though.
man, it was all about introducing yourself, saying what you're gonna do, and then like dropping the mic. Yo, my name is Rob, and I'm gonna. Hello, and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast. And I forget how this goes. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell. Gonna start the show. Gonna rap about games. Away we go.
Every week we listen to great video game music from all consoles and all generations. We pick a topic and we get into it. This week is very special because it's an 80s throwback.
I wish.
Oh.
Throwback over your shoulder, behind the back.
I thought we had some more. I thought you had more in the tank.
Oh, I do, but I wasn't prepared to spill it on the floor just yet.
Okay. You know? Oh, wait. So every week we listen to great music from all consoles and all generations. And this week is a special episode. As we do every month, we do a live streamed recording of an episode specifically for our Patreon members. So at all levels of our Patreon. So go to patreon.com/rhythmandpixels if you want to hang out and just make jokes with us in the chat room, and you get all the visual gags. You get to see what me and Pernell look like in real life. In my
Spoilers,
office.
I'm always sweaty wearing a white t-shirt lately.
Yeah,
but that could change.
Pernell goes to the gym and comes here, and it smells incredible in about 2 hours. This room is ripe.
I got to put out there, though, I genuinely appreciate that because if he ever were like, look, stop doing that, I'd find a way around it. But he's always been like, Pernell, this is important to you.
It looked like you changed your shirt.
I did. I changed in the street. Which, by the way, how much does Pernell progress in his fitness routine? I'll change my shirt in the street now.
I like this.
That's how much I've progressed. I will change my shirt in the middle of the street before coming in the house.
So you gave our neighbors a little show.
Well, but then they'll see what I'm doing. It's like, oh, what a very responsible young man he is. He's changing before going into the house.
I wish everyone would do that.
I wish my friends would change before coming into the house.
Change your clothes. All right, so before we get into today's topic, you got anything you want to talk about? Yeah, anything you want to share, Pernell?
Well,
anything you want to share?
Yes. This is show and tell. This is my beverage. It's delicious. Actually, it's not really, but I'm drinking it because I paid money for it.
Body armor.
Body armor. That's how you know it's good. It's named after Kevlar.
Yes, hydration plus caffeine. That's all you.
So my Garbage Pail Kids did sell. I might have mentioned that last week, but they sold for a decent penny. And now I got the itch. So people that know me personally have seen this on my Facebook, but for people who don't know me in that level, I got to thinking for some reason, like in the group I'm in, someone mentioned the old Sega Genesis power base converter, which is an old device that used to be snapped on top of the Genesis Model 1 to play Sega Master System games. And once someone mentioned it, I started thinking, like, do I still own that thing? It'd be nice to get to unload it and get some money off of it. And I remembered it. I got a vision of it being in a specific place where it's been sitting for like 26 years. And I went back to my old house, went back to that spot, moved a few things, and there it was.
That's incredible.
Caked in dust because it literally sat there all those years untouched by anybody.
The picture of you holding like this gray box, and then the next picture holding the actual box for the power base converter with like the KB Toys
Electronics Boutique
Electronics Boutique price on the top corner of it. That's incredible.
And I intentionally took the pho of it covered in dust because I wanted to show like this is what happens when something sits for this long.
You know what we're all thinking is what else is in his house? What is it? Oh, do you think your Sega channel's still there?
Oh no, the Sega channel we couldn't keep unless you were really crafty because they reclaimed those. So anybody who's like, I still got my Sega channel, they stole it. Not that I'm judging, but they stole it. But yeah, I'm probably going to sell that when I get back from my trip next week. I'm going to sell more Garbage Pail Kid boxes that I had sitting around. They're not worth as much as my 30th anniversary box, which was worth a surprising amount of money, but they're still worth enough to unload. And I'm officially unloading my Danganronpa games because I'm ordering the Switch version of it. and it's like get that extra cake. So I'm kind of doing a little bit of moving, a little bit of shaking. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But you might be hearing this and going, well, Purnell's finally unloading the beast, unleashing the beast. He's selling off all of his games. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
No.
Still scratching my chin over here.
No, but I'm proud of you to be making these decisions because it's a hard decision to make.
It is a hard decision.
Yeah, are you reading? So we have a new Patreon member, Chris, says that Purnell is going to sell the power base converter and invest in Downey Unstoppable.
I could, though I got to tell you, believe it or not, the thing I'm looking to invest in is Target because I've been thinking about, I'm stock stupid. I'm just going to be blunt, but I'm trying to do a little bit more with that with the little bits of money I got. And so I'm like, okay.
Oops, that was me.
So I'm like, so what should I do? What would be worth doing? And how is Purnell making his decisions? Well, I invested in F0X, which is an actual stock. I was like, well, F0X sounds appealing, so I invested in that.
Watch, it's like fracking and
God, don't even do that to me. It's futuristic racing. It's coming. People are investing in it.
The only person who's coming up with those companies is a fake company, and I'm sure it's going to be.
Is it Nintendo?
Elon Musk being like, I'm going to make a hover car before anybody else. And everyone's like, money.
Just give it up. But then the other company is probably going to be Target because I live at Target. I just bought Mario Golf and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And by buying those two games, I got a $35 gift card to go back to the store. And then I bought 2 gift cards to the Nintendo eShop, thinking that the whole promo was over. And they gave me another $35. So I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know where this came from. Clearly, I'm skirting the system here. It's a glitch. I don't care. I'm not telling anybody nothing. So I just like stacking sales at Target. I live at Target now. I have a cot in the basement, so I may as well have some stock invested there too.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I'm still that guy trying to play my video games and my board games. I just wish there was a way to
Oh, speaking of which, don't forget your games on the way out.
Oh, I won't. Yeah. I won't.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, fun fact. So, guys, I load Rob and his wife some board games, and I'm trying.
Also,
I'm trying really hard to get...
Another reason to be proud of you, that you actually lent us some games for a few days.
Yes. Soy. Freaking Martin Prince. You got greedy, Martin. So I loaned them some games, and I'm like, okay, they're my friends. They're responsible. They're not going to do anything with them. But I kid you not, I was like, are they taking care of my things? What's happening?
We did not. Games? Okay. We did not take them to the pool. We played 2 of the games. They're still in the boxes.
We were walking by the pool. Whoops.
Okay, so
dropped them.
I opened the one box of Nova Luna, and all of the you know how you punch the cardboard out of those little things.
Yeah, the cardboard slice to hold all the pieces.
Yeah,
for
the little
game.
templates. And
you put them all back in.
And all of that trash you still keep?
Yes.
I kept it all for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I kept your trash in the box.
Just like I like it.
All right, so excuse me. So the topic this week is a continuation of the summer of 16-bit. It is your underappreciated gems.
Yes. Now, keep in mind, for those listening to the show, this isn't whatever, man. That's not underappreciated. Everybody and their mom's playing it. This is not that show. This is, if our listener says it's underappreciated,
right?
It's underappreciated.
I would say
they feel it's underappreciated. We're going to ride that wave.
If there's one time that you said, oh man, I love this game, and somebody said, I don't know what that game is.
Boom, underappreciated.
Or I looked it over because it looked stupid at Blockbuster.
Underappreciated.
Purnell,
if you used to hold up your coffee table, underappreciated.
Purnell is underappreciated.
Don't stop it, you.
But like all Patreon episodes, all of our tracks this week, most of our tracks this week are from suggestions from our listeners and Patreon members with included testimonials, just like the late, great VGM Jukebox podcast.
I missed that show.
I missed that show, too. But every once in a while, you get to hear Keyglyph on the Legacy Music Hour. So don't forget to tune into the Legacy Music Hour every month. Once a month.
I thought you were like, Purnell adds something. I don't know. You should watch it or listen to it. It's a great show.
Yeah, if you haven't heard the show, just stop this one and turn that one on.
Hey, let's not go nuts. Listen to them concurrently.
Concurrently, okay. Just don't stop.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. This is an odd numbered episode, right? 28-7. So Purnell,
Oh, snap.
this is all on you.
It's Peabody perfect. Well,
Pick a good one.
Oh, I already know what I'm picking because this came from listener Chris Murray, and it's a game that I think if you really lay it on the table, I would agree that it's underappreciated. I have friends who talk about it, but in the grand scheme of things, I never hear people talk about it. This comes from listener Chris Murray. This is Battle 2, also known as the boss theme from the game Lufia and the Fortress of Doom on the Super Nintendo, composed by Yasunori Shiono. There we go. Welcome back. You're listening to the boss theme from the game Lufia and the Fortress of Doom on the Super Nintendo, composed by Yasunori Shiono and selected by listener and friend Chris Murray. Which is interesting, too, because today, fellow friend and BGM, friend, Chris Taylor from the Obscure Music Podcast, or Facebook group, just finished his entire run of all the Lufia games. Today, he finished it all. So, it's a nice day for Lufia fans. Between him and this show and the Lufia mom, mass has got unearthed in Colorado recently. That was good. Anyway, what did he say about it? Chris didn't have a ton to say here, but he still typed, not a hidden gem or anything, but definitely one of the lesser appreciated 16-bit RPGs, even within its own series for that matter. And that is true, because when people talk about this series, they're usually talking about Lufia 2.
They are.
And they stick with that.
Yeah, but both have incredible soundtracks.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love them all. And this is like one of those games where I feel like it fits the summer motif for me too, because I never owned it. I only rented it. And I only rented it because I really wanted an RPG to play. I'd burned through the main ones that were on the shelves. And this was all that was left at the time. And the box didn't look appealing to me, but I was like, well, it's an RPG, right? Luffy is a person.
I like that. I like that. Purnell he burned through all of the SNES RPGs available. Just did them all.
Just did them. Knocked them right the heck out. And then took this guy home. And then was like, wait, I was surprised by how much I like this. But it's also stupid hard. Like, it's a grinder. So when I say difficult, it's RPG difficult. This isn't you don't strategize really in this game. It's just it's either you have just, I take that back. When you grind in the game, at least from my memory, you can never really overpower yourself. It's just they have a cap where you're kind of like, you're just strong enough to work it. So you got to play your strengths, but if you don't come in leveled up well enough, you're just gonna lose. Like, you get one hit KO'd by basic spells. It's ridiculous, but it's a perfect game for maintaining that simple loop of town, scenario, dungeon, outcome, town, just wash, rinse, repeat over and over until you get to the end of the game. It's like, oh my god, I'm playing the past and the present, or whatever. Like,
yeah, the story comes together, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a fantastic game. A good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, it's a very good choice.
And Soul Sanctuary is like, I've actually heard of this game, so there you go.
The battle music for all of the Lufia games, I guess all two of them, are incredible.
Justin Schneider goes, things leveled up relative to you. No, they ain't level up. So what it was designed where you get to a town, and that region had monsters that are proportionate to a certain level, and then the dungeon you were going to, enemies were a little bit stronger than that, and the boss was a jerk. Just straight up a jerk. So as you attacked guys, depending on how low your level was, determined how quickly you'd get experience to eventually get to the point where you hit a ceiling of sorts where you get experience, but not really enough to care. So it's like, okay, now I just need to go and defeat the boss. And then once you're past that part of the game, the next area is going to start giving you good experience because now you're fighting enemies that are, much stronger than you again.
Yeah.
So I was never a big fan of the games where the enemies level up with you unless they were really good at administering skills.
What are some of those games? I'm trying to remember. I know I've experienced that, but I can't remember which ones.
It's a rarity for me, too. Like, I barely remember any off the top of my head. I just know that's usually the shtick. It's like, they're like, well, they get strong alongside you, so you can't grind through them. Actually, Seventh Saga was one like that. Seventh Saga was like that. More so the bosses were like that, though. But if you could get skills that could turn the tide. So even though your levels were the point where you couldn't, like, say I had this much strength to be better than this guy, you could say, well, I have this new skill, lets me do this thing, which lets me build up a brand new strategy to work from, and now I'm better than I was before. Then I'm okay with it. Otherwise, screwed. Oh, no wonder I couldn't remember Final Fantasy VIII, that turd. I kid.
Oh, Final Fantasy VIII they leveled up with you.
Yes.
Okay. I knew I played one. Because I never played Seventh Guest. Seventh Guest?
Seventh Saga.
Seventh Saga. And the Seventh Guest is like that point-and-click horror adventure.
/ RPG. In a house. With dogs that chase you.
/ dungeon explorer / dating sim.
And Chris should know because he is also a fellow turn-based critic from back in the day. So he and I have had many an RPG debate / discussion / argument / drunken rant / fest. It was fun. So he knows my feelings for Final Fantasy VIII very well.
I know what you're up to with those sessions for now.
See, I like that though. So there's the ground. FF8 was the guardian force ability. So that's what works. It's like you make your character so that they can handle what's coming at them. Not I'm going to grind my levels up until I just stomp
exactly.
everybody.
So that I can get so good here that I know that the next 3 areas I'm just not going to have a problem. Which for me, I'll get lost, accidentally grind for 4 hours, and then do really well. Because it is old RPGs, I would get lost every time.
And you just come out on top as a freaking Viking.
That's right. That is advice for life. Don't be afraid to get lost.
Just grind it out.
Yeah, live, laugh, love, grind.
Punch trees until you strengthen up.
Suplex a train. So our next track is going to be on not a 16-bit console, Pernell, but a 16-bit computer system.
You know how it is. When we were kids, there's everything 16-bit. If it has 16 bits somewhere amongst the description, it counts.
It counts. Absolutely, it counts. So I had 2 cousins that owned the Amiga computer system, and I was always interested in the games that were on it because they were so different and they looked so advanced. So we're going to hear a game called Troddlers, which was kind of like a Lemmings game, but not quite. Kind of a point-and-click puzzler.
Steven Miller with the win here. Live, laugh, level up.
Live, laugh, and level up. Thank you.
I want that on my wall. If anyone's really good at crafting art for these sorts of things, I will pay you for it. But I'm stating it outright right now.
Fun? You still have those words on your steps.
That's right. But if they said if I could get live, laugh, level up, I'd peel them off.
I would have peeled them off day one.
Never. Live, laugh, level up. Gimme.
All right, so that's coming from the Amiga. This is called Troddlers is the game. Troddlers. The track is called Crossed, and it's by famous composer, Allister Brimble. And we're back. You're listening to Troddlers for the Amiga computer system, composed by Allister Brimble. This track is called Crossed, and it was picked by our listener, Christopher Stenstrom.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's a good, really good track. It's so 80s or no, I think I don't know. It's got a sound. I feel like Amiga music already has kind of a sound, and this is like leaning super hard into like fantasy world. You know?
I kind of want to play it now because the description but the fact that it's supposedly like another type of Lemming style game, and honestly, I didn't know of a game aside from Lemmings that played like Lemmings that wasn't Krusty's Funhouse. So to hear what that is just kind of surprised me. And honestly, Krusty's Funhouse was even not 100% Lemmings. It was like, Lemmings, but you can manipulate an individual in the world instead of the world itself.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking about Choo Choo Rocket, but that's not exactly manipulating like their jobs. It's just telling them where to go.
Putting an arrow on the floor.
And hoping they don't get killed.
Which, by the way, I would totally play that on the Switch right now.
Is it on the Switch?
No, but that's what I'm saying. It should be on the Switch. It'd be so smart to do.
Are there touch controls on the Switch?
You can do touch controls, but of course, yes, the flair in that game was the multiplayer. So you wouldn't use touch. You'd have to have like 4 Joy-Cons on and flipping around on the screen.
That'd be amazing. That would be so good. But no. Pernell, we're not talking about Choo Choo Rocket. We're talking about Troddlers.
That is true. They sounds like toddlers, but with shovels.
But like gnomes or ogres,
wildebeest. I don't know.
Something.
Little critters. Just call them critters.
This part I like.
Makes you feel alive. Sunshine and lollipops. It's so good. Like, it makes me
break it down now.
That's when the breakdancing Troddler just shows up and he spins and drills into the earth.
You gotta have like the cool 90s Troddler with like the backwards hat. He's got the basketball.
Break it down there.
All the Troddlers know what's up. All right, so I'm gonna read a testimonial from Christopher Stenstrom. He would like to say, "Hey guys, it has been a while since I've written to you with a song suggestion for an upcoming episode, and honestly, now that I do it, I notice how much I miss writing to you guys. Hope I will keep doing it for upcoming Patreon topics. Please do. We miss your picks as well.
Even if you don't write for a track, just write in general.
Yeah, just be like, hey, and then we'll write, hey, in return. All right, so for the 16-bit summer theme of underappreciated 16-bit games of tunes, I usually have my go-to summer hit, which is the Color of the Summer Sky from Secret of Mana. However, that game is not an underappreciated game, therefore it is out of the question for this theme. Instead, I had to look into myself for a tune that really sparks summer joy for me, and the first one that came to mind is a game that I played on the Super Nintendo as well. I never gotten that far. I never heard of this game on the Super Nintendo.
Me neither.
Yeah. I never gotten that far to hear the song in the game, the song I'm about to request for this topic. But when I did a podcast episode on the British composer Allister Brimble, I saw the game Troddlers, which instantly jump-started my memory. So what I bring to the table this time is the song Crossed from the game Troddlers, which in my opinion is an underrated game which was super fun in contrast to boring Lemmings, which is what he says. A game simple yet very elegant. Note, the better version of the song is the Amiga version, and that's why I posted that link instead of the Super Nintendo version.
I can dig that.
Yeah, I dig that. I like the Amiga sound.
But I'll tell you what, I can dig a little bit more, just slightly more. The thought that 2 weeks from now we might get a letter from like a Lemmings super fan who's like, I call out Christopher Stenstrom boring my foot. I'll show you the boring game. And it becomes like a whole episode, Lemmings versus Troddlers.
Oh, man. That's a t-shirt right there.
It's like the fists up side to side.
I'm imagining like a really like digitized version of them, like in Mortal Kombat, and they got like their fists out, and Troddler wins.
And then in the background, they're all just walking off cliffs. Because of course they would be. Troddlers. That does sound like that.
They walk off a cliff right into like a sea of the pit of spikes.
Oh, whatever is most painful.
The Lemmings were designed just to blow up and die and get smushed in all these horrible ways to begin with.
Poor critters.
Man, I played that game way back on. I downloaded it from a bulletin board system called the PC Pub. That Henry, his uncle, ran it from the barn and the farm that he grew up in.
Oh, cool!
So this is pre-internet, and I started the download at like 8 or 9 p.m. and I had to just let it go because it was a 2400 modem.
So did it mess with your head when you realized that the PC Pub actually existed in a barn?
No.
And it didn't serve drinks.
It became awesome because
milk.
Because then he was like, "Hey guys, I got like all the newest games," and I was like, "Heck yeah!"
Okay, in that case, it's like all balances
Yeah,
out.
yeah, you got Duke Nukem and Doom and all that stuff.
Just get me entertainment.
But I waited all night just to play Lemmings, and it's on my CGA monitor, so it was like pink, kind of purple blue, and black Lemmings, and it ran pretty well. I had the first few stages, and then like it took up too much space on the hard drive, so I had to delete it to like write a paper for school.
Those were the days when a Word document.
And then I wanted to play it again, so I had to wait like 6 hours for it to download.
I miss those days, and yet also I really don't.
I don't. I mean, I really don't. Okay, Pernell, it's time for your next track.
All right, this track comes from a game that I feel like I should have heard of before hearing this, and I'm sure I probably have, because I bet it's like a Capcom beat-em-up collection or something, but I didn't. Until this came along from listener and friend Bedroth of the Very Good Music Podcast. This track comes from the game King of Dragons and is titled Cave of Hydra, composed by Yoko Shimomura, so you know it's a bop, but judge for yourself when it starts right about... Back. What are you listening to? You're listening to The Cave of Hydra from the game The King of Dragons, released on the Super Nintendo, composed by Yoko Shimomura and submitted by listener and friend Bedroth of the Very Good Music Podcast. What did Bedroth have to say about this? As Butspo called it, legit deep cut. Well, I had to think about this one for a while because my concept of what's underrated isn't the same as other people's. In the end, however, I thought of 4 SNES games I remember enjoying that I've heard very few people bring up. I've asked Twitter which was the most underrated amongst those, and I realized the excellent Krusty's Super Funhouse rather, didn't have an excellent soundtrack. Wah, wah. And finally, I listened to the wonderful OST from the underappreciated and overshadowed fantasy beat-em-up, The King of Dragons, composed by the VGM queen herself, Yoko Shimomura. So please enjoy Cave of Hydra. Now I want to know what those other games were, unless you want to keep them secret for future podcasts, track submissions, or for your show, but I want to know what those other tracks are now. It's like, what did King of Dragons beat out on your options?
This one's really good, though.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This was clearly a good win on his Twitter for his Twitter shit, because they voted of the games he had. This is what won his vote request. So thank you, Twitter folks, for guiding Bedroth on the right path to get us this tune on the show.
I voted on that. What did I vote for? What was on that thing?
I hope you voted for this.
No, I did not.
Oh, cripes, Rob.
I voted for something.
He said Krusty Super Funhouse, King of Dragons, Animaniacs, and Hook.
I might have voted for...
It better have been Animaniacs.
Hook. It might have been Hook.
What? My man. I've played every game on the list that he's naming here.
Yeah, no.
And of all those, it goes, this game now,
yeah,
Animaniacs, And I guess Hook, because like you said, Krusty Super Funhouse, the music works enough for the game, but I don't really want to bop to. Actually, no, there was one track from the game I did like, and I think I even played it on the show once.
But yeah, I think it was part of our Simpsons episode, and we both listened to all of these games, and we thought, oh no, there's not a lot of great music in these games.
Wait, how did Krusty Super Funhouse win?
Oh, because people enjoy playing that game, not necessarily enjoy the music of that game.
That makes sense.
Because looking back on it now, I think I did vote for Krusty's Super Funhouse.
And the best part is, I bet he even mentioned what has the better soundtrack, and people were like, "Oh, I love playing Krusty Super Funhouse."
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Just like polls usually go.
It's Twitter. Anyway, we're moving on to our next our next track. This is from Electric Boogaloo. Woogie 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 coming in with a super obscure hit. I have never heard of this
Probably the
game.
most obscure one of this episode.
Yeah.
Cripes.
With an incredible soundtrack. So thank you so much, Electric Boogaloo, for this pick. This is stages 1 and 4 from the game Trampoline Terror! For the Sega Genesis North American release.
Doesn't this sound like a friggin' Zombies Ate My Neighbors stage title?
It does, but if you play this game, it is like a very Japanese-looking puzzler, platformer / I don't know what. It's crazy looking, but the composer is unknown. We don't know who it is, but this is Trampoline Terror for the Sega Genesis, picked by Electric Boogaloo and composed by, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. Electric Boogaloo composed.
Do.
You're listening to stages 1 and 4 from Trampoline Terror for the Sega Genesis with the unknown composer, good old buddy there, and picked by Electric Boogaloo with no testimonial.
Just magic.
Just magic in the inbox. If you want to send magic to our inbox, you can send it to rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
Make that magic happen. But like, yeah, honestly, I do like that. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, because I'm always surprised. Like, we'll do like a Patreon episode. I'm like, get those tracks in. Get the tracks in. Because I look forward to hearing what people have to send in. So it's like, with a testimony or without, you don't even have to justify. Just be like, this is what we're picking. I like it. But it's always more cool to read a testimonial in general because I want to hear what's going on in your head. Why did you pick a track? What did you eat for breakfast this morning? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, give us your breakfast picks. Don't need song picks. Give us your breakfast picks. You gotta have breakfast.
Oh,
Pernell doesn't eat breakfast.
Hey. I have you know 3 handfuls of cereal constitutes a decent and well-nourished breakfast.
Ooh, tough guy.
Ain't no tough guy. It's a speed guy. I'm a guy who never has time. I'm always in a rush.
Always in a rush.
Always toast in my mouth.
It's true. You show up to the house, and if you got food in your hands or in your mouth,
that's right.
Half the time you can't get the door open.
That's right.
You got your elbow.
Trying to open the door because I got to eat, but I don't have time.
Trying to keep my dog from running out. And you're like, oh, let me get this.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Chris right there with the hook. Bacon, egg, and cheese on ciabatta bread. Oh, I'd eat it. Eat it right the heck now. Jalapeno kolaches. I don't even know what that is, and I want it. Is that a ground koala or something? No, it better not be. No, you don't eat ground koala. Those things are adorable.
Ground koala.
Never eat it. I will never.
You have so much caffeine in this drink. It's insane. It's dangerous.
It's not that much. It's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was wrong. It's 1,000 milligrams of potassium.
Yeah, see? No sulfate, though. No potassium sulfate.
No. I thought that was 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. And I was like, Purnell's taking off again. Yeah, I'm gonna pack everything for the weekend. Like,
I'm ready.
The whole house is like in a suitcase.
But now I'm not gonna pay for that luggage storage, so screw that. I'm
man.
cheap, baby.
Well, anyway, if you have not played Trampoline Terror, as we have not,
Good luck finding it.
Good luck finding
try
it. Emulate it. It looks interesting. But go check out the soundtrack on YouTube because it's out there on YouTube and it's really good. This track's fun. It's silly, but like the opening theme is really neat. It's really funky. All right, Purnell, we're on to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're on to you. We're on to you, Purnell.
Jig's up. Jig is up.
Jig is up, man.
Well, this track actually comes from Mike Myers for a game that I've heard of, but up until his submission, I honestly did not know it existed on the PC Engine. But lo and behold, it does.
I saw it had a few consoles it came out on. Not just the PC Engine. The PC Engine Super CD.
That's right, which means you know the music's going to be a bop. And that game is called Game Ground. This is the Stage 1 theme from that game for the PC Engine CD, composed by Katsuhiro Hayashi and Yu Takada from T's Music. Welcome back. You're listening to Stage 1 from the game Game Ground for the PC Engine CD, composed by Katsuhiro Hayashi and Yu Takada for T's Music and submitted by listener and friend Mike Myers. So, God, I gotta start doing more Gilbert Gottfried impressions. That's great.
No, not on this show. Not on this show.
Let's read this testimonial, shall we? Game Ground proved that action games don't need to be fast to be fun. if they mix with a bit of strategy. Though the SX version lacks the multiplayer of the arcade and Mega Drive versions, it does make up for it by having this rockin' soundtrack. Also, a Sega game on the competitor system? What? What in friggin' deed? Because up until this submission, I friggin' had no idea this had a PC Engine version. But I'm glad it does because this track slaps.
It's really good. I like this section. I think there's this like right before the it loops around. It has like this little sweep of strings. It's really cool. I don't know. It's again like the Amiga. It has like a really specific like '90s sound to it. You know, these really '90s keyboard sounds. I love them.
I'm a fan.
I'm a big fan of that. But this is a Super CD game, right? So didn't the Super CD only have so many? I thought the system only had so many games made for it, or am I thinking of like Super CD 2 or something?
You might be thinking of Super CD 2 because as a US person, it's hard to keep track sometimes because they had a multitude of attachments and
it was a Super CD-ROM 2 only had so many games, but this one would probably have more than a few.
Yeah, because that was the first. This is the first model. Because then Super CD 2, before the Duo came out, you had to have the CD attachment, and then you had to put a special Hue card in the Hue card slot to juice the system up even more.
That's amazing.
So that thing was like. That was the era of just add-ons on top of add-ons on top of add-ons between the Genesis and the Duo. I think the Super was the only one who didn't. That was because their add-on got discontinued. Like, it just didn't come out.
Yeah. Did the PC Engine or TurboGrafx, did they have a light gun as well?
No light gun.
All right, so I remember, Super Nintendo had the bazooka situation, right?
And the Super Scope 6.
And then the Mega Drive had like a machine gun situation.
Yeah, I don't remember what this was called. I know they had a pistol called the Justifier, though.
Yeah, and that was based off
Magnum.
Yeah, that was based off of the arcade Lethal Enforcers. But I was always wondering if the TurboGrafx went down that road too.
TurboGrafx just had a friggin' adapter to play 2 players because for some reason they didn't have the foresight to put 2 ports on there.
I'll say the original controller for the TurboGrafx, that button is hard to hit.
Yeah, but at the same time, you had turbo buttons or turbo togglers built into the controller.
Now, whose design idea was that to be like, we made the controller and the button's hard to hit? So instead of like making that button a little bit lighter to the touch, let's just add a turbo button.
A genius, that's who.
You're like a genius. So what did you use the turbo for? Like just shooters, or did it help to get through RPGs to like skip through stuff?
Not so much. Honestly, I rarely use the turbo stuff, to be perfectly honest. Most of even on the NES, like I had the NES Max and I had a NES Advantage, but I was that kid who didn't really see much of a need half the time. So, for example, like a game like Contra where you fired a gun, you didn't have to mash the button constantly to do that. You just held the button down.
Yeah.
And the shooters that existed in arcades, well, those kind of shooters didn't really make it on the NES. Though, for all I know, maybe there were a couple Genesis shooters that worked like that. We had to mash the button to fire the gun. That would be where I'd use a turbo button. And also, I will say that certain games, like say like Keith Gertz, I guess you could probably want to use turbo because you want to like have like sometimes you want to stand in place and just swing your sword constantly and just deflect enemies from coming towards you if you really don't want to just push forward.
Or Mortal Kombat when it goes test your might and you have to mash the button to do the karate chop.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But if only. But I guess I didn't have turbo. I didn't have a turbo controller for the Genesis, so I couldn't do it on there. And I didn't have it on the Super Nintendo because
I guess you're right. I think I only ever used the turbo on the Nintendo when we were playing like track and field and stuff like that, and you had to like mash the buttons real fast.
Oh yeah, see, those are the things that kids in this era would have never had to deal with. How to get around, limitations on games like punching the power pad with your fists or rubbing batteries across your controllers. Kids don't know anything about that mess. They're just breaking iPads.
The battery strat is a pretty good idea.
Oh yeah, I lived that strategy. Take a AA battery or a AAA battery, just like rub it across the 2 buttons.
I would imagine like a D battery, like a bigger one. You can rub your palm across it.
Most the thing is, it wasn't about rolling it. It was holding it between your thumb and index finger and holding it in position with your knuckle, like your knuckle. It's like rubbing, just like rubbing it between the 2. And
just wrecking your controller.
Oh yeah, but it was worth it because I didn't buy the controller. Mom and Dad bought the controller, and they'll just get another one because their money was infinite, and I didn't have the concept of a job. So it's like, just get another one, Mom. I broke it. How? Cheesing track and field, but it's okay.
I had to beat my friends.
Of course,
there's real money on the line here.
You better believe it. We're talking quarters,
real quarters. All All right, our next track comes from a listener and friend, Michael Bridgewater. This is a game called another Amiga game, another Amiga home computer system.
I love how we got 2 Amiga submissions.
I know. I'm actually pretty happy about this. I'm really pleased. This is for a game called Switchblade on the Amiga. This is in-game background music 3, composed by Ben Daglish. AC/DC. This is in-game background music 3 from the game Switchblade for the Amiga computer system, composed by Ben Daglish and chosen by our listener and friend Michael Bridgewater, aka MeBree64.
Which you said you're going to. If you're going to, you got to play it on the episode, the Lobster Racing.
Oh, we will.
Oh, God.
Yes. So find MeBree64, MIBRI64 on YouTube for all of his amazing Commodore 64 demo tunes, and his most recent one, which is the theme song to our game,
Lobster Racing.
Lobster Racing.
The game that will it exists.
Oh, it sounds so good though.
It's going to happen.
It's got to happen now. I found my old project file for that, and I never did anything with it, but I got other projects to work on. So, so Michael also brings us a testimonial.
What kind of testimonial?
I'm starting to lose my voice already. He says, here's a track suggestion from a game on his system that is not a 16-bit home console, but a 16-bit home computer. Is this allowed? No worries if not. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Switchblade is a side-scrolling action platformer that, at a push, might be considered a sort of Metroidvania for its exploration and combat elements. Yeah, there we are again. It's a pretty solid title, driven by a wonderfully heroic-sounding in-game tune composed by the British computer game music legend Ben Daglish, who sadly died in 2018. The game was released on 16-bit computer systems like the Commodore Amiga and the Atari ST, as well as some 8-bit platforms such as the Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum, but it was not ported to the big 16-bit home consoles that ruled the gaming world in the late 80s and early 90s. This, I would suggest, really limited the size of the game's potential audience, hence why I believe it is an underappreciated 16-bit gem. I hope you dig the tune. I do dig the tune. It is weirdly powerful.
I don't think it's funny. Like, I like the track, but I always kept on like, dong, dong, dong.
Yeah, it's. I wasn't expecting this. It's when this hits.
Yes, yeah, this is all the good stuff. Like, the whole track is good, but like, I get caught up on the most minimal part of the whole song, just like that metronome.
Yeah, this part.
Yes, this. I get locked up here.
So I think that other part wouldn't be as good without this part. Like, you need the light with the dark.
I can kind of see
Like,
that.
you gotta have like this long build up to be like, oh, here comes them Switchblade. Here comes Switchblade.
He's done combing his hair. He's going to take out the blade.
And then it builds up. It builds up so good. And here he comes.
God, see, now I wish I had freaking hair. I want a pompadour.
I mean, no one's stopping you from putting a wig on.
But that wouldn't be the same. Would not be the same. It's not my pompadour. It's the store-bought pompadour.
Cool Keith. You know the rapper Cool Keith? Probably not. But anyway, he had
probably not is right.
he had a big plastic pompadour.
Oh, so he wrote with it.
Oh, I thought the cat was in here.
Yeah, the cat has a pompadour.
All right. So he had a big one, like this big, and on what his album was called Black Elvis.
Oh,
It was really good.
Well, sign me up then.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're on to the last track of the set.
No, this should be the bonus round, sir.
That's right. We are. Holy crap, Purnell.
Rob is turning into a pumpkin earlier than usual.
See, I don't like that because that insinuates that when I'm not a pumpkin, that I am I'm a carriage.
No, not a carriage.
I'm not a carriage.
You're a rocket ship.
Because the carriage turns into a pumpkin.
No, the rocket ship turns into a pumpkin.
The Rob Nichols turns into
A pumpkin.
Sneezy.
I don't even know what a sneezy is.
one of those gnomes.
The little mice people.
Yeah, one of those gnomes that takes care of the drugged out princess.
The 7 dwarves.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Out of them all 7, you chose Sneezy.
I said Sneezy.
Yes. You're not Sleepy. The actual the dwarf named Sleepy.
Man, look, I
Which
so
you?
tired.
You're the Sleepy.
It's been a long week. So it's been really hot. It's been really, really hot.
See, even the mice transform, so it's not like
Yeah, but they turn into other things.
yeah, Wicked
The carriage turns into the pumpkin.
Yeah, but
And you say Rob's about to turn back into a pumpkin. I'm like, no. If I were a carriage, I would already be the pumpkin turning back into a carriage. This is the dumbest conversation I've ever had.
I don't know why that happened. That's what happens when you don't sleep enough. I said, now you sleep plenty. You just wake up early.
Okay, I really like.
Creepy, sleazy, gropey, dumpy, crappy, holy crotch. Yeah, those are what would they be? The 7 schnorks?
Let's move on to the bonus round and not just question that.
Bonus round.
All right, we're on to this part of the show called the bonus round, where we play covers and remixes and arrangements on our theme, and this is no different. So Purnell, we don't always get bonus round picks on the show.
All the more reason where if you guys have a thought for one, just send it in because you never know.
You never know. All right, so Purnell, what you got for us?
So, underappreciated tracks. This one came to mind for me fairly recently because Mike Myers is currently playing through Dynamite Headdy, which he's playing for the very first time, whereas for me, Dynamite Headdy was my jam back in the 90s. I would say it was my first treasure game. For many, the first treasure game was Gunstar Heroes.
Yeah, that was definitely mine.
But for me, it was Dynamite Headdy. And to this day, I'm a huge fan of it, and not enough people talk about it. So I got to looking for a cover specifically for my favorite stage in the game, being Area 4, Terminator 2, and Mad Mex. And I did find one. So this is Stage 4 from Dynamite Headdy called Remake number 109, done by Bit Symphony. Welcome back. You're listening to Remake numbered 109, a Stage 4 remix / cover for the game Dynamite Headdy, done up by the Bit Symphony. And yes, I like it. Rob apparently really liked that one part.
I did.
And yes, like Dynamite Headdy is a game that I wish more people would play, because for all the weird games that Treasure has done, as early as this one was, this is probably still to me one of their weirdest games. You play as a person who's not a person. He's actually a puppet who lives in a puppet world, complete with, stage hands and, props and all these things. And the entire game takes place there. It hams it up, and it definitely lays it on real thick. And what's Headdy's ability? He can throw his head. He can remove his head and replace his head with new heads. Each head gives him a different ability.
And it's not decap attack.
Nope. This is a whole nother head tosser.
There's two games on the Genesis where you're taking your head off and throwing it.
There's probably more. Probably more.
That is amazing.
I mean, throwing your head is a very important aspect of video games.
It's an American thing to do.
It's traditional.
It's traditional. It's tradition, Pernell.
That's right.
We've been doing it since the 60s.
Whooshka. But all these different abilities, some of the abilities aren't even important. Like, I feel like there are definitely a few heads in the game that you don't even ever use if you don't want to. They have no purpose. They're just there because they're options. And
I like that in games, when there's things that, like, you don't need them, but they're fun. Here's something for fun to do just to change it up.
And it has there's a number of weird game tricks it does. So there's one of my favorite bosses, even though the boss itself isn't even all that complicated. His name's Spinderella, and it's just this giant ball in the center of a tower, and you're running around the tower, and the beginning of the fight, you're walking in front of it, and it's swinging its arms around, volleying them, and it's trying to smash you, and you're throwing your head to hit its face, but you got to run around the tower to get to where its face is positioned. And then eventually, the thing gets angry, and it grabs the entire tower and spins it. So the next thing you know, you're on the back of the screen. So now you're tiny, and it's harder to move yourself because you're technically in the distance. And he's still trying to smash you with his fist in the background, and it's just so fun to watch and play out. And back then, I can't think of too many other games that pulled tricks like that. But it's so cool. And there's we were talking earlier about how Mighty Flip Champs, though I think we probably talked about it off cut. But there's even a level kind of like that, the level this track plays in, where as you're walking along the stage, you'll hit these levers that say, hit me. And then when you whack them, the entire world flips backwards or flips down, and you go to the backstage, and you're running around backstage. And then you hit the next one, and you're back on the stage proper because it pulls the screen back up, and everything flips back over. And it's just so many cool visual tricks that it does. And the music is good, and it's just so weird. The recurring enemy's name is a cat named Trouble Brewing, which I can't emphasize how awesome that pun is.
Oh, man. That's amazing. So a friend of ours, Kim, her cat's name is Trouble.
There he is, Trouble Brewing.
Call him Trouble Brewing. I love that. That's so cute.
Bruin.
All right, so my bonus round pick, I really thought the Troddlers music was very interesting. So I went out and looked for more Troddlers music.
Whoa! Before we move on, EB hit us with a factoid. Gotta mention it. There was a Master System version of Dynamite Headdy, but apparently it only came out in Brazil.
Interesting. So I know that in South America, the Master System had a much longer lifespan. So maybe that's part of that. That's so interesting.
I just like the fact that it exists for more people to play, because everyone listening to this show needs to play Dynamite Headdy if you like platformers.
So anyway, I have been exploring more of the Troddlers music from Allister Brimble, and I found Allister Brimble's Bandcamp page where he did remasters and reworked versions of his soundtrack. So this is the arranged or reworked version of the title theme for the game Troddlers from his album The Amiga Works by Allister Brimble. You're listening to
Burn Muscle.
You're listening to the Troddlers title theme from the Amiga Works. This was a remastered, arranged version of the Troddlers music composed by Allister Brimble. So check that out. We'll have links to... am I even recording? I am recording, aren't I? I've been doing this for 5 years.
I don't want to tell you that it's practically 6.
Every once in a while, if you hear me like kind of slow my speech and I'm stopping for a second, I'm like, am I recording?
Blame being past 9 p.m.
Yeah, so we're going to have links to his Bandcamp page where you can go and check that out. And everywhere, all our other bonus round artists you can find on our website, rhythmandpixels.com. You can get all that information there. You can buy the music. You can support these artists because they need your love.
And support. And kindness.
And a place to stay for the weekend.
And ears.
And a ride to the airport.
Actually, I need those things.
The other reason that you're here tonight.
No, it's not. I covered.
Do you need a ride?
No, my pop's going to cover it.
I can't help you.
I love how you're like, you need a ride to the airport? Oh, I really do. Sucks to be you, Joe.
No, actually, I could drop Christy off. Anyway, this is not for the podcast.
What are we doing?
Thanks for joining us on episode 28-7 of Rhythm and Pixels. This is our Patreon live episode where we're listening to listener-suggested Underappreciated
16-bit.
16-bit.
Jim.
All right, Pernell, this track came from our listener, Butspo.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is Smuggler's Cove from the Lost Vikings 2, the sequel for the SNES, composed by Glenn Stafford. Do you want to read the testimonial there?
Give me 1 second.
Do you have it up?
I do. I told you, I'm like 5 screens over here. There we go. I am good to go. So, this track comes from The Lost Vikings 2, which I used to play a lot. It's a pretty unique kind of puzzle platformer where you have a team of 3 Vikings and a few other characters, which you control one at a time, each one of them with its own set of strengths and weaknesses. For a 2D platformer, only one of the 3 Vikings actually has a normal jump, which adds a lot of the challenge, as you have to figure out how to get all of them to the end of the level. Looking back, it's a fun one to analyze in terms of game and level design.
Looking back at my childhood.
This theme is from the pirate ship area. I like how many of the tracks of the game start with an epic mood before they quickly move into a more funky or bouncy segment. I think it adds a lot to the cartoony style of the game. Also, the characters make a burp sound when they eat, and one of the Vikings, Olaf, can actually fart while he's falling to get a little air boost. Something about that feels pretty 90s to me. I'm not sure how I'm going to switch it back. I'm not sure how rare this game is, but it doesn't come up as often, so that's why it's my pick for underappreciated 16-bit game. It is a quality choice, and honestly, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but there is a game series out right now called Trine. They've had 4 games. And I am 100% positive that they were inspired by Lost Vikings. So if you've never played Trine, you really should look them up because I bet you would like it. I bet you would love it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Trine University in Angola, Indiana. India.
No, that one didn't have a sequel. That's a single cut.
Okay. Trine 4. The Nightmare Prince.
Yep, that's the last game they put out in the series.
No. Trine Access Technology.
Oh, Christ. Trine 1 through 4, but don't get Trine Access Technology. That is a error.
And then they make locks for doors. Who knew? This is a cool track. I like the samples are really well placed. It's good. This is good. I didn't want to lose this on the show.
When he said pirate ship, it kind of hammered it out quite nice. Like, yep, this is definitely like they nailed the pirate ship feel and sound with this.
Carlos says fiber uppercut. You need that. It's something about potty humor in like a kid's game is like, oh, it's gonna be fun.
Hey, I collect Garbage Pail Kid cars. Who am I to judge?
Yeah. let he throw the first stone.
Oh, and throw I shall. All 16.
You're not throwing stones. You're throwing those little pieces of gum that are all hard and fossilized. Yeah.
We challenge each other in contests, and the loser has to eat 30-year-old gum. It's great.
You have to dip it into water.
No, there's no dipping.
Like soften it.
No, you don't soften it. You got to put it in your mouth and let it dissolve into dust on your tongue. Or cut the roof of your mouth, whichever comes first. It's great.
I'm not going into any of your parties.
They're the best. Gaming with. I
am sending my regrets to.
No, you got to make it interesting. You got to, gaming has to come with, risks.
You go to your party and where everyone's playing Mario Kart and you're like, care to make it interesting? And the guy starts to pull out his wallet and he's like, oh, yeah. And you're like, let's drink this terrible fluid that I mixed up earlier today.
That is what I would do.
It's mustard and mayonnaise and
also
ketchup.
Ghost Pepper bubblegum, which I have done.
Oh, that sounds awful.
No, I didn't know. It was fine for me because I won. So, no.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It was great for me.
Anyway, thanks to everybody for listening to the show. If you like what you're hearing and you want to say hi to us, or if you don't like what you're hearing and you want to let us know, I appreciate that too. That hasn't happened yet.
Don't knock on wood. I don't want to.
You can email us at the email address that we have set up for you.
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And go to our website for current events, track listings,
information about
music
the
videos. What's that?
Merry jigs.
All the dancing and stuff.
Christ, Rob. Christ. Rhythmandpixels.com is where all that stuff is.
For a full track. I'm getting super stupid right now. I'm going to slap happy in a second. I'm going to lean back.
I love how it's like Purnell's the night owl and Rob likes to sleep.
I like to sleep.
That is the show that we put on.
Yeah.
So listen to the music that we play. This one submitted by the listeners today. Hey, come and hang out with Rob and Purnell. It's the Rhythm and Pixel Show.
You can't make me excited for with your joyful song, Purnell.
But there's a great song. It's about a good show. Everyone jam.
Anyway, on the website is a full track listing of all of our episodes and access to all of our episodes and links to all of the stuff that we're doing. Purnell's game reviews. Our Discord server is linked on that website as well. You can check us out on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. It's Rhythm and Pixels. Oh, I should not have closed my eyes.
All one word.
Rhythm and Pixels is all one word. You can find us on all those locations. All of those locations, Purnell. I'm fighting. I hate you.
Start doing that thing or slap your face.
I hate this.
I was like, smack.
Yeah, and then go to youtube.com/rhythmandpixels. We have a 24/7 8-bit and 16-bit classics and deep cuts radio station playing all day, all night for your listening pleasure. So go check that out. And if you want to support the show, the best thing you could do is tell people about it, or you can subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, if you're on Spotify, or if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Apple Podcasts.
Or dig a hole in the woods, put some leaves over top, and put like a Spotify attached cell phone at the bottom.
Yeah. And so people are like, oh, what's that song? I know I've heard that music before. Bam! Trapped. Bam! We got meat for the winner.
And they have some great music to listen to in the meantime.
You can do that. If you can support us in other ways, you go to patreon.com/rhythmandpixels. As a member at all tiers, you get access to a weekly prequel episode of me and Purnell chatting, current events, honestly, and just stuff that we're catching up with each other. And you also get access to a monthly live stream episode that we're doing like today.
This one, right here.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun to do it with us.
That's right. Rob's like, I'm half asleep, and I'm like, I have lots of caffeine. That's what you're getting, baby.
That's what you're
Coconut
getting.
Water.
Coconut water with loads of caffeine in it.
Is it Rhythm and Pixels like Russian Attack, like Ghosts and Goblins? I guess it could be.
Oh, I like that.
No, it's like Bubbles and Scratch, or Whiz and Liz, or Hop and Bop,
like apostrophe N. I do say it like that though. Rhythm and
Rhythmin Pixels.
Rhythmin Pixels. But yeah, so go to patreon.com/rhythminpixels to get access to all that stuff. At the highest tiers, $10 tier and $20 tier, you get access to doing some fun stuff on our radio station. You can send me what you would like to say on the show, like a shout out, or if you want to promote something, and we'll put it on rotation on the radio station. At the $20 tier, you can record your own voice and send it to me, and I will put it on rotation as like a little promo on the radio station. Like every 10, 15 songs, you're going to hear it over and over again for now.
and over again.
So check that out. And also at the highest tiers of our Patreon, we like to thank those members. So we'd like to thank Frankly Zappa, and we'd like to thank a brand new Patreon member, Sean Dobbins, and then Mike Myers, Andreas Mielberg, Brian Pitt, Cameron Werma, Carlos, the Kung Fu Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast, another brand new Patreon member for now.
Dramatic pause.
Chris Wisner, a.k.a. Musashi219. Give it up.
But it's a giggle.
Thank you so much. Christopher Shenstrom, also thank you. Davy Cakes, David Taylor, Harold Howard, Justin Schneider from XVGM Radio coming through with a piggity Plex server. Thank you. Michael Bridgewater, a.k.a. Mebri, a.k.a. Forever Sound Version Podcast. Thank you. Reinhard Selkova, Sleepy S'more. I totally get that. I'm sleepy. Steve Miller. Taco.
I can only get that. I'm Miller.
And you're Miller. Sleepy Miller. Taco. Thank you, Taco. The Autistic Gamer 89. And Ed Wilson of the VG Embassy Podcast, who is a good buddy and a good podcast friend and a good podcaster. Great father. Great human being.
He's a good dude.
We salute you.
And how?
I'm going to sit up now because that was a bad idea. All right, so thank you everybody for your continued support of our show. All the money goes towards keeping all the costs for the podcast, the storage, equipment, and eventually when we get back to ancient times, me and Pernell can travel again and go to your favorite convention and talk into your face.
And just be flat out ridiculous.
Yeah.
In person.
So thank you all so much for your support of the show. Pernell, you got anything else you want to say before I turn the lights out?
Well, there's always the one thing, but that happens after the thing.
Oh, after the lights are out?
Yes, you know the deal. We have a format, Rob.
You need a ride to the airport.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the show, Rhythm and Pixels. My name is Rob Nichols,
and I'm Pernell.
Be safe, everybody. Don't drive while you're sleepy,
unless you are really good at it. In which case, I'm not going to stop you. And remember, so this is more of a U.S. thing, but I guess it's a world thing too, depending on where things are falling in your neck of the woods. But there are a lot of things are changing as far as like our conditions go in the situation. Restrictions are coming down, and people are going about their business, whatnot. And my philosophy has been, some people are a little anxious about it, some people are excited about it, But at the end of the day, everybody's going to be what they're going to be about it. And what that means is, as it generally tends to be, you can only really truly look out for you and yours. So what I mean by that is, for my example, I'm happy that things are shifting. But as far as me wearing, not wearing a mask at the grocery store, that probably won't be changing. I'll still be doing it. I will go unmasked with my friends, of course, because that's fun. And I am comfortable taking that chance. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to do. But at the same time, if a person in the grocery store does not want to do that, I'm not going to give them any grief over it. That's their choice to make. We're in the situation now where we're going to do what we're going to do. But the important part here is you have to do what's best for you. You have to do what's best for your family. And just be calm, be comfortable as best you can. Don't let it get to you too much. Try not to get too anxious or upset about what's going on. Just live, because things are moving and we can't stop the gears.
Yeah.
But we can also work to not get crushed between the gears. Just be.